Story 1. The Unsettling Presence. Man, I had way too much free time on my hands. I'd wrapped up school before spring hit, and at the time, it felt like the ultimate dream. No more drowning in assignments or cramming for exams. But when that freedom actually hit, I was completely lost. What do you even do with all that empty time? My new job wasn't starting for another month, and all my friends were still stuck in the grind of classes or boring lectures. So there I was, just drifting aimlessly, caught in this weird limbo between one chapter of my life and the next. It was rough. Let me tell you, feeling so useless was eating me alive. I'm the kind of person who thrives on staying busy, always needing something to do, to feel like I'm moving forward. Just sitting around, watching the seconds tick by? Pure torture. So when my mom asked me to check on Uncle Rick's beach house in Rehoboth, Delaware, I was all over it. An easy task to break the monotony? Heck yes. All I had to do was drive down, make sure the place wasn't falling apart, or, blown to bits, and handle a few small chores to help Uncle Rick out. Easy peasy, right? Oh, and I should probably mention I'm from Pennsylvania, so the drive to Delaware was just a quick 2.5-hour jaunt. No big deal. That beach house? Wow, it was absolutely massive. The kind of place that could easily fit my entire family, 25 of us. No less every spring for our wild reunions. We'd play games like there was no tomorrow, drink way more than we probably should, and just soak in the chaos. Those were the unspoken rules of our family gatherings. Go hard or go home. The house wasn't right on the beach, but it was close enough, tucked away in this serene little area, surrounded by towering beach pines and long, winding roads. I set out one random weekday morning, maybe a Monday. I'm not totally sure. The drive was smooth, and when I pulled up to the house, everything seemed perfectly fine. No creepy vibes, no warning signs, at least not yet. I walked inside, pulled out Uncle Rick's checklist, and got to work. Check the beach pines, inspect the property, give the house a once-over. Everything looked good, no issues, but being there alone? Holy cow, that was strange. I'd never seen the place without the usual madness of my family's card games or the loud laughter from our epic drinking sessions. The silence was so heavy, it felt like it was pressing down on me, the air thick with an eerie stillness. Have you ever been somewhere that's usually bursting with life, but it's just dead quiet? It's like the house was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Still, it was early, and I was wiped out from the drive. Can you blame me after 2 hours on the road? I shot a quick text to my mom to let her know I'd stay the night and head back in the morning. She was like, "Cool. I grabbed some food, used your phone to plan breakfast, you're all set." Normally, when the whole family's there, I get stuck in one of the tiny third-floor rooms, while everyone else claims the bigger, nicer ones. No biggie. It's just how things work. But this time? Oh, I was living the dream. I had the whole place to myself, so I decided to spoil myself and crash in the master bedroom on the second floor. It had a study, a huge comfy bed, and this jaw-dropping view. How could I say no? I mean, who wouldn't want to sleep like a king for a night? I crawled into bed, and before I knew it, I was out like a light. But then, bam, something yanked me out of sleep. What the heck was that? My head was all foggy, but I was positive I heard a noise, like something heavy crashed in the master bedroom. My heart started pounding, but I couldn't move. I just lay there, frozen, my mind racing while my body refused to budge. Ever been so scared you're practically glued to the spot? I didn't want to know what was in that room. I squeezed my eyes shut, begging myself to fall back asleep. I was so close to drifting off again. But just as I started to relax, I heard a voice. A freaking voice, coming from the master bedroom. My whole body went cold, and I tried to tell myself I was imagining it, but deep down, I knew I wasn't. It was like some invisible force was pinning me down. My limbs heavy, my heart thumping so loud I thought it'd wake the neighbors. This was real, and I couldn't move, not even if my life depended on it. Then I heard footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from the master bedroom, and the door creaked open. My blood turned to ice. There, right by the bed, was a dark figure just standing there, staring at me. No movement, no sound, just those eyes locked on me. Can you even imagine that kind of terror? 20 seconds dragged by, each one stretching into eternity. Then, calm as anything, it turned and walked out, heading toward the third floor. The third floor, the one place I'd stayed away from. I was paralyzed, barely able to breathe, my mind screaming, "What is going on?" The figure's footsteps echoed up the stairs, and I was left in this agonizing, suffocating silence. All I could do was wait, my heart hammering so hard, I thought it'd burst. After what felt like a lifetime, I finally found the strength to drag myself out of bed. My hands were shaking so bad, I could hardly hold my phone, but I dialed 911, my voice trembling as I whispered for help. I grabbed a flashlight, my only defense, and waited, jumping at every little creak in the house. When the police finally rolled up, I nearly collapsed with relief. Thank God they were here. They stormed in, searched every inch of the house, and I waited outside, shivering in the chilly night air. It didn't take long for them to come back with the worst possible news. The house was empty. Empty? No way. I'd heard those footsteps heading upstairs. There was nowhere else for someone to go. They had to be hiding in there. The cops suggested the intruder might have slipped past me, and I was too terrified to notice. Yeah, right. I knew what I'd heard, what I'd seen. But what could I say? They were gone. I was shaking, begging the police not to leave. Can you imagine being left alone after that? So I called Uncle Rick. He was furious, practically yelling that they needed to search again, saying my life could be on the line. God bless him for that. So they did, and this time I followed, watching as they checked every closet, every corner, under every bed. That's when they found it. A window on the third floor, in the room I would have slept in, was unlocked. The frame was bent, like someone had forced it open from the outside. My stomach dropped to my feet. I'd been in the house with an intruder this whole time. The police searched outside, but didn't find much at first. Then they spotted him, a scruffy guy, looking like he hadn't showered in years, just sitting by a tree, cool as a cucumber. They grabbed him, and he didn't even put up a fight. They figured he was homeless, probably squatting in the house for days, maybe even weeks. When they asked how he got in or why he was hiding in the attic, he just stared, like nothing in the world mattered to him. How creepy is that? That was it. The whole thing was so wild, I still can't wrap my head around it. Why was he hiding up there? Did he hear me come in and dive for the first hiding spot he could find? I still don't know how he got into the house, and neither does Uncle Rick. That window's way too high to climb up from the ground. The police's explanation felt like a stretch, but what else could I do? My extended family and Uncle Rick were filled in, and for reasons I can't quite put my finger on, I know that if I'd slept in that third floor room, things could have gone so much worse. Can you even imagine how close that was? The mysterious device. Then there's my friend Mike's beach house on the Jersey Shore. Calling it a nice getaway is like calling the ocean kinda wet. It's absolutely stunning. I don't visit often, but when Mike asked me to check on it with him during a quiet week, I was beyond excited. That house has been in his family forever, but they hardly use it anymore since his parents passed away. It's fully furnished, drop-dead gorgeous, but usually sits empty because his family's up north, too busy to make the trip. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it means Mike can crash there whenever he wants. Talk about a silver lining. The plan was simple. Drive down, make sure the place was in one piece, maybe hit the boardwalk for some nighttime fun, and just soak in the chill vibes. Mike swung by to pick me up, and we cruised down together. Pulling up around 6 p.m., everything seemed perfect at first. We dropped our bags, flipped on the lights, and started checking the place out. We were half expecting to find a leak or some kind of mess, but nope, nothing. No water damage, no weird smells, no signs of trouble. Everything was golden, right? Then we heard it. A low, eerie hum, like something straight out of a horror flick. What in the world was that? We spent a few nerve-wracking minutes hunting for the source, my heart pounding with every step. Finally, I found it in one of the bedrooms, hidden under a dresser. A small, black device. It was sleek, all black with this faint, glowing light on top. No buttons, no markings, just this smooth, glowing box humming softly. I picked it up, and boom, the humming stopped dead. Talk about unsettling. I stared at it, my pulse racing. It was weirdly beautiful, like something from a sci-fi movie. But what was it doing here? Before calling Mike in, I just stood there, trying to wrap my head around it. When he walked in and saw it, his eyes went wide, darting from the device to me. We didn't say a word at first. We just stared, like we'd stumbled onto something forbidden. Ever felt that sinking feeling when you know something's seriously wrong? Mike finally broke the silence, asking if I'd ever seen anything like it. Nope, not a chance. I asked him the same, and he shook his head, just as confused. We tried to figure out what it was, where it came from, what it was doing in his family's house. Mike swore no one in his family owned it, and I totally believed him. Why would he make that up? Who leaves a creepy glowing device in their beach house? Maybe it was some high-tech security gadget, or a weird art piece, but the hum was gone now, so it wasn't doing much of anything. The only way to activate it seemed to be by touching it, which meant someone had to have placed it there. Someone else was in the house. My stomach churned. Mike didn't waste a second. He called the police while I stood by the door, clutching that weird device like it might bite me. We waited for what felt like forever, every little noise making us jump. When the cops finally showed up, we spilled everything, our words tripping over each other. They searched the house while we waited outside, our nerves completely fried. What they found was unreal. Every single window on the third floor, including the attic's, was wide open. The attic door's lock was broken, and the room looked like a bomb had gone off. Even though it was fine when we checked earlier, I felt like I was losing my mind. Mike was just as shaken. The police didn't find anyone hiding, no weapons, no clues, nothing. They told us to lock every window and door and call if anything else happened. Stay in that house? No freaking way. We were too freaked out. We agreed to sleep in shifts and bolt at first light. Thank God nothing else happened that night, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been there, watching us. Parts of that night still don't make sense. Who put that device there? Why? I can only imagine how Mike feels, knowing someone was creeping around his family's house. Whoever it was must have slipped out before we got there, but the thought of them being there all night gives me goosebumps. This happened years ago when I was 22, and it took me forever to feel okay talking about it. Can you blame me? A terrifying escape. Fast forward to just over a month ago, and life was pretty sweet. I'd graduated college, scored a decent job, and was living with my parents to save some money. Talk about a sweet deal, no rent, no grocery bills. I know not everyone gets that kind of support, and I never take it for granted. But life wasn't all perfect, let me tell you. I'm not a party animal. I don't chug beers at bars. I don't chase wild adventures, and I don't go looking for trouble. That's how my dad raised me, He's the biggest influence in my life, always keeping me grounded. My days were simple. Wake up, go for a run, head to work, repeat. I'd hang with friends, take walks, or do whatever else caught my interest. But when my best friend from college, Lindsay, invited me, Sabrina, and Thea to spend a few days at her family's beach house, I was all in. A girl's trip to the beach? Count me in. I'd never been to Lindsay's beach house, but the way she raved about it, it sounded like pure heaven. Quiet, secluded, just a short stroll from the ocean. Her family's full of life. Her parents are professors, so I figured their place would be packed with personality. I wasn't wrong. When I first saw it, I was blown away. It wasn't just a beach house. It was like a fortress, all sturdy and classic. I wish I could share pictures, trust me. I've got plenty, but out of respect for Lindsay's family, I'll keep them private, especially after what happened. Her parents helped us get settled, figuring out where we'd sleep. Lindsay had enough room for us all to have our own spaces. But come on, where's the fun in that? We piled into a 2-story guest house with a basement, perfect for a girl's getaway. 3 nights felt just right for a trip with friends. Can you picture it? Just us, the beach, and endless good vibes. I'm not big on drinking, but I was ready to let loose a little. The first night, we kept things chill, walking Stuart to the beach near the house, sprawling out on the sand and watching the waves crash under the stars. We were sipping White Claws, jamming to music on Sabrina's speaker, when we noticed something odd in the distance. A faint, flickering light. What was that thing? It wasn't much, but it sent a shiver down my spine. I was exhausted though, so I called it a night, telling my friends to keep the party going without me. There were only 3 of them, and I wasn't in the mood to meet anyone new. I headed back to Lindsay's house, got ready for bed, and crashed hard. It was past 3 a.m. when my phone rang. Lindsay, sounding absolutely frantic. Her words hit me like a tidal wave. Thea and Sabrina had been attacked, and I needed to grab her car and get to them right now. Can you even imagine that kind of panic? It was like a bolt of lightning shot through me. I'd never felt such raw, heart-stopping fear. I grabbed her keys, my hands shaking like crazy, and raced to the car, my mind spinning out of control. Lindsay explained that after I left, they kept drinking. She stayed more sober since it was her family's house, keeping an eye on things. At some point, the people Thea and Sabrina were with suggested going somewhere else. Lindsay told the 3rd person they were ready to head home, but they got mad, thinking she was blowing them off. Things got tense, and they told her to get out and not come back. She was fine with that and left. But on her way back, she realized she'd forgotten her bag and went back to grab it. That's when she saw it, those people chasing Thea and Sabrina into a van before speeding off. She called the police, then me, and that was it. My heart was in my throat as I floored it to her. Thea's parents, both teachers, handled everything like champs, making sure the culprits were caught and the girls were safe. Turns out, the attackers were a couple trying to flee to another country, and their crimes landed them in serious hot water. I can't talk about it for long. It's still too raw, too painful. I avoid beaches, late-night outings, and strangers, no matter how harmless they seem. I drifted from my friends for a bit, but thank God we're close again. I can't even begin to imagine how Thea and Sabrina are dealing with it. Part of me thinks not remembering might be a small mercy. If I hadn't gone back to the house, I wouldn't have gotten to Lindsay's car in time, and the police might never have found that van. Can you believe how close we came to disaster? It's a miracle we all got through it. Craving true horror stories that chill your bones? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for the scariest stories in the world. Share your creepy park story in the comments below.